On June 3rd, 2015, Ghana witnessed one of the deadliest disasters in history. Heavy rains and floods triggered an explosion at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle Goil filling station in the capital, Accra, resulting in destruction to properties, several casualties, and others sustaining lots of injuries. 9 years on, a group coordinating for justice for the remaining survivors is blaming authorities for the lack of enforcement of laws, failing in their duty and failing to act right. GBCNEWS Clara Mlano was at the venue of the disaster and has come up with this report.
Scars, anger, disappointment, and a feel of neglect are the visible signs at the location of the June 3rd disaster. The former Goil filling station at the then Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra was a familiar spot for these victims who all suffered one thing or the other on that fateful day. Now, it has become a converging point for them to meet annually in memory of the departed, of about 150 persons who died from the tragedy and how they miraculously survived, yet reeling from the explosion.
Don't even try to record. Please, I beg you.
Well, yes,
2 years. I was able to pick up myself and go back to school, but yes, still 2 years, no work. No work. Why? Because nobody's willing.
The Fisata Ambassador, my said back 20 surgeries. The Usha many questions here, if you are boss here, meeting be many. The problem now, I want, and I'm meeting, if you are boss here, a canny brim sweet, because I ain't can say, I feel meeting. The Yabos here, Ninyamukra, meeting Ninya. Headgear. Scan wine. Minya one in Filibia, headgear. And so a scarcity. And I imagine if you am seeing. Oh, skin. If you are boss here, Meti a war. Don't put me direct. Because Medisa, Miko Rivin, Miko Bisa doctor and say, Ebanisena, and also a normal. A say skin a baco tree, a shishisana, a co. Ndi wesi enu ya chucha misre na ditare ndi na abanisa challenges kwa ndi mejna se mitumi yajuma papa bia se ndi yenya compensation ya de betwa yon.
There was an early morning wreath laying ceremony, but that meant nothing to them as little attention has been paid to their plight and received virtually no compensation for what happened.
What I want the government to do is for settle us. To settle us. If the government don't give us the money they're supposed to give us, let them give us the money where people, US, London, Asia, all over the country send money for the government fund, but they didn't give us that money. Every June 3rd, having benefited on this thing, apart from the money we get from the president, that was almost like 7 years and last 6 years. This is 9 years. I heard about talking about this thing.
Go back to our business. We tired. Now I can't be able to pay my rent. My rent right now, I'm talking to you right now. That's why I'm mounting. My rent now I can't even be able to pay.
One Ghana movement for 7 years now has been pursuing the matter in courts to get stakeholders involved. Goil Ghana, NPA, owners of the Circle Goil filling station and the Accra Metropolitan Assembly AMA to adequately compensate the victims. Fair takers, the tragedy basically occurred as a result of bad safety practices.
People took decisions and were reckless in their actions. That recklessness, that irresponsibility, that failure in their call to duty is what led to the fires. That's what led to the floods. And everyone must be called to justice and made to account. If we don't build a society where we learn to be accountable, we cannot sustain and thrive and transform our country. People must know their consequences for their actions. So when they are taking action, they should also connect with their lives that are exposed by their actions. That's what we are in court for. Thankfully, we have filed all our critical witness statements, and we are looking forward to a completion of the case management engagements, so we actually move this case forward and justice be given to our brothers and sisters.
Until then, these persons say they will continue to suffer in silence, live at the benevolence of others, and honor the memory of the unlucky every June 3rd here who succumbed to the disaster. Clara Mlano, GBC News, Accra.